Hey guys, Progressions Parkour here with a tutorial on the inward dive roll. Let's get it. Alright guys, so we're going to start out with the run up and an explanation to help you understand the rest of the tutorial. First of all, the explanation. I am going to be doing the move off of my right leg and twisting to the left. So if you want to go off of your left leg and twist to the right, just mirror everything that I'm doing. So first of all, for the run up, it's pretty simple. Basically, it's just a step into it. So I go off on my right leg, which means I'm going to step with my right leg and make sure that I can swing my left leg through. The way that I'm going to be doing my tutorials on the channel, it's less technique focused. There's still the technique, but it's more of a focus on the progression itself. So for the inward dive roll, you should have the dive roll, you should have a handstand. Doesn't even need to be a great handstand. And ideally you would have a gainer, but that's not necessary. First up with the handstand, mine's not great, but it doesn't need to be, so here you go. And the second progression is to dive into that handstand. So again, here's the handstand, and here's the diving one. You are going to practice the swing now. Whichever direction that you're going for this move, you need to start changing things up here at this point in the tutorial. So this is where I'm going to explain things for the right foot left twist. Once you've practiced the run up and diving handstand, you're going to put that together, and that's essentially most of the move. But you're going to do the handstand behind you. It sounds weird, but you just got to practice it. If you're turning left, you're going to put your left hand down, and if you turn to the right, then you're going to put your right hand down, and you're basically just going to go to a cheated, like a bad handstand basically. It looks pretty stupid, but it's a good progression. You're going to do what you just did, which would be diving behind you into a quadrupedal position instead of a handstand, and you would turn that into more of a handstand. Another thing to note, guys, is the more that you kick up, and this is where a gainer would be nice, the more that you swing your swinging leg up, the more flashy that the trick looks because you get more inverted. So now that you are diving into a handstand or a quadrupedal position behind you, you're really close actually. At this point you should be in this position and try to just roll out of it by collapsing one side. Once you can smoothly put that together to where you are hitting your feet in between the gainer part of it, the setup, and the roll itself, the idea is to really get your feet as soft on the ground as you can. So the progression to that would look something like this. So slippery. So I did want to do this tutorial with no mat, but the grass is really slippery, so change of plans. You have to just roll with the punches. So there is actually a couple of things here that I want to help explain for you guys. So yeah, let's do it. First of all, I'd like to point out that this first one is actually more like a speed vault on the ground. This is actually a perfect example of what you should be trying to get to right now. Notice my feet are not on the ground when my hands are. And I'm leaning forward, my chest is up off the ground. I have my back foot up in the air. That's going to set you up perfectly for the roll. The final part of the progression would be obviously the actual trick. So the hardest part of that is just combining the roll into what you've already done. And that's this part. You see this freeze frame is exactly the point when you want to be upside down more or less so that you can go straight into the roll. So that's the first progression. The other progression that I'm going to teach you, you just have to have a dive roll. Let's do it. So you're going to start out with just a regular dive roll like I just showed you, and then you're going to slowly turn sideways. I would go towards whichever side that you are twisting towards as far as which way to turn. With the regular dive roll, you're going to be here standing facing where you're going. However, when you're doing the progression through the roll, you're going to want to slowly turn to the side and do the same thing. You want to get more and more sideways until eventually you're going backwards like this. That Arabian dive roll is very similar to this inward dive roll that you're trying to learn. So the inward dive roll is really just an Arabian dive roll off of one foot. What you can do to turn the Arabian dive roll into the inward dive roll is you can basically just change how you're setting up for the Arabian dive roll. For the regular Arabian dive roll, you would just be jumping and going for it. Whereas if you wanted to progress that into the inward dive roll, you would jump off of your jumping leg or put more of a focus on the jumping leg that you want to use for the inward dive roll. Which again, if you're twisting to the left, it's your right leg, and if you're twisting to the right, it's your left leg. So for me, it's my right leg. So I'm going to put focus on jumping on my right leg. And once you do that, you can then do that and combine it with a swing of your swinging leg, and then you basically have everything you need. You just need to put it together. Then just do that with momentum, and you got yourself an inward dive roll. Let's go. I'm going to show you some clips. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.